what happens when we get out of balance is that your nature, your inner nature is going to give you something that is going to help you balance. Like it's a gift, actually. That gift.
So this is our 12 days of Christmas, the Great Uplift review for June going into July. We just passed our, midsummer solstice, and that puts us in a place where the outward, the yang, the sunshine is starting to diminish at this point. So we're starting to add yin into the day, where the most outward that we've been is done, and now we're moving into that second half, which starts to add yin into our day.
Which is important, by the way.
Yeah,
Because
tell us about that.
because most of us, so let's just talk a little bit about yin so we can, ride this wave in a way that doesn't recycle us, that doesn't crash on us and wipe us out. But yin is so important because it's like the inhale and the exhale. I think we've mentioned this before, maybe in one of the other podcasts or in our things, but we tend to value the outer and not the inner. We tend to value what we do and not who we are. The human doers instead of the human beings. We tend to look at how much I'm receiving versus how much I'm giving. Like we seem to be so out of balance, and we're so seeking balance in our lives. Yet the only way to really harmonize with balance is to honor both the inner and the outer. And so we've got to make that shift. And yin is stillness. Yin is quiet, dark, inward, silent. It's cold. It moves from outward to inward, or yang moves from inward to outward. It's opposites. In some ways we can look at it, it's like the feminine energy. It's receptive. It's imaginal. It's intuitive. All of these things. And so when we even look in our culture today, we tend to not honor the feminine as much as we honor the masculine. Or, we honor getting things done instead of resting.
Yeah.
And listening. So yeah, it's a really interesting time because in our day-to-day living, in the Chinese clock, the height of yang is 12 noon. So that is the height, meaning that's the get up, get out, make things happen, go, go, go. And then at 12 noon, it starts to move inward, so that by the time you come home and have supper, you're ready for bed. And that's the moving inside. I call it inside with the inside. You go in with the in, so that by midnight, you really health-wise, you should be totally sound asleep, because at midnight is the height of yin. And that's when we do want to be in deep sleep. So that by the time morning arrives, we're starting to gain that yang again, so that we can get out of bed and, make things happen.
Right. And nature has it so that it's balanced. In our day, 12 hours of moving from yang to yin, and 12 hours of moving from yin to yang. It does that over the months, 6 months of this, 6 months of that. Mm-hmm. And as humans, we tend to do 23 hours of go, 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 yeah, and an hour, and so it is important. And it's not the only thing. It is important that there's a balance. And we're so far over on one side to recognize that, I might need to add a little extra here.
Exactly. And so June 21st being the summer solstice, again, would be like your 12 noon. It's the height of yang. It's the height. And the December 21st, the winter solstice, would be the height of yin, of really going in and being guided and listening.
So one of the things that I noticed in my 12 days was that I actually had COVID on day 6th, which is June. And so I was inward on that high yang energy. And one of there's a part of me that is like, am I out of balance? Am I out of whack? And then I really thought about it and I thought, no, I'm not. Like knowing our own rhythms and honoring our own rhythms, whether they are in sync with what's going on in the world or not in sync with going on in the world, it actually doesn't matter. There's information there on both sides. It's also just recognizing, instead of being in the shoulds and the woulds and the coulds that we've talked about, or the itty bitty shady community telling me, oh, I'm not doing it right. It's not about right or wrong. So when I look back at my June, it was rest and recovery and magic.
Mm.
And those are all very yin things on this most outward month of the year, right? And that's okay with me. And what I found is that the way it manifested in my month is that I've been home and I've been working outside in my garden and doing a lot. And I've been doing it in my home. And that's that sacred space that I felt like I created on that day to allow me to prepare. There is a preparation that I feel very much about. And when I looked at July for myself, July is a rebirth. And so I know that there is this preparation. And just because in the outer world, the sun is shining, and that doesn't mean that there isn't something cooking inside of me, right?
Well, and also what happens when we get out of balance is that your nature, your inner nature is going to give you something that is going to help you balance. Like it's a gift, actually. That gift of having COVID may have said, maybe there was too much yang energy going on for most of the year anyway. So we're going to, drop you in a little bit sooner so that it's a forced time so that you can really, accentuate the gift that is wanting to be given to you. Because
Yeah.
otherwise you're going to be moving. You've got that momentum. I remember you one time telling me a story about seeds, that you planted your own seeds and you also bought a plant that had already been pushed to grow sooner, and you planted them at the same time. And the interesting part is that they both grew exactly the same length, because the one that was so pushed ahead of its time, you think, it'll be accelerated. It'll all be ahead of my seeds. No, it ended up being the same. And isn't that true of our own life? We think, if I just do one more thing today, if I get one more thing, I have one less thing to do tomorrow.
Yeah, so true. Yeah, I love that perspective. The other thing I was thinking about is that we were given everything we need before we need it.
Right.
So yeah, had I not been in tune with my own rhythms, which was telling me, take some time, even though it's that outward month of the year, take some time. This is your rest, recovery, and magic month. And I honored that. I probably would have been totally burnt out and not gotten the gift of the rebirth that's going to happen next month.
Exactly. So beautiful. I mean, I was looking at what was going on for me, and my word for the day, for day 6 for June, was transcendence. And my quote that I pulled was, love yourself enough to know you deserve more, be brave enough to demand more, and disciplined enough to actually work for it.
So what did that mean to you?
So when I think of transcendence, it's it's above something, it's moving towards something. But I had to go inside to discover, what does loving myself even mean? And what is it that I'm worth, or what is it that I deserve? And sometimes, and to be brave enough to actually ask for it. So there's the yang, but disciplined enough to actually work for it is the yin. Like it automatically, like, I randomly pull these quotes. Like, I don't go looking for them for each day. I just see what, pops up, or what draws to me, or whatever. And that's what I put down when I do the 12 days of Christmas. So it's so interesting, because the month of June was all about process. And so many times in our high rational world, we're more about the results than the actually, well, what is my inner world requiring of me? And so my question that I was presencing for June was, I was having a hard time of letting go. letting go of my old Stephanie and where I was addicted to the old ways of relationships and the struggle and the different things of that way. And what I was realizing, that the gift in it was that it was helping me stay disciplined to a process.
Mm.
And I'm like, well, who would I need to become to still be disciplined to the process without having the struggle or the strife in relationships or finances or health? Like, what if that wasn't there? What if my life was just extraordinary all the
So
time?
what if you didn't have to deal with the drama of
Right.
like conflict and this and and we've talked about conflict is not necessarily bad. It's the drama that we bring to it, right?
That's right. Which was so interesting that was kind of my contemplation for this month. And it has been kind of percolating throughout. And then as I flip the page and I look over to July, I mean, the theme for July is restoration. And I
Mm.
love that word because it's about restoring something. So I need to tell myself a higher, more beautiful story of what is happening or what has happened so that I can be lifted up. I can transcend. But I also need to let go of the old story. So I need to be aware of what is it that I'm believing or thinking or practicing or behaving that is keeping me stuck in an old way.
Hmm.
And I just think how interesting going from the outer to the inner and that transition. So yeah, really beautiful. And my quote for July is, and now, this is from Rilke, and now we welcome the new year full of things that have never been. But in order for me to say yes to what's coming, I have to clear out my nose. I have to say no to certain things. I
Hmm.
need to make a sacrifice. And in order to do that, I need to go inside and rest and reflect and look to go, what is that?
And I just want to, you use the word sacrifice, and
Mm,
oftentimes that word gets a bad rap. And what what I heard was when you said, I need to make a sacrifice, is you need to sacrifice the old Stephanie who's addicted to drama
that's right. Absolutely.
and let her go. And it's not, I have to sacrifice something that I love. And we're just, we in a sense we do love that person because we know how to be that person. You know how to be that Stephanie.
But I
I
need to
have,
transcend her if I
right.
want to be in a new paradigm,
And
which I
we think that
do.
it's just an instant, like, oh, I do this. And no, you know what? When there's an addiction, and we all have them, we're all addicted to a personality in ourselves. Trust me, I'm
Yes.
not. And so when we choose a different one, there has to be a gradual letting go. It won't be, it's not like a faucet that you turn off.
That's right. And coming back to the yin, the definition of yin, yin is gentle, yin is
Hmm.
nourishing. So it's
Compassionate.
compassionate, it's kind. Those are all yin qualities. So, to be gentle with ourselves as we are transitioning into the next half of the year,
Yeah.
to be kind and to be present to that which is emerging within you, both to say goodbye and also to say hello. Be gentle.
I love that. So that's our wrap up for this month's Great Uplift, the 12 Days of Christmas. We will be doing it again. So make sure you are on our email list to get that information. And you can get on our email list at thesoulfulleaderpodcast.com. And we will see you all next month for our July into August review. Have a great month.